Welcome to the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles, the original food service equipment repair podcast built by technicians for technicians. Whether you're on the front lines of repair, keeping the kitchen running smoothly, or just passionate about the food service repair industry, this podcast is your go-to source for expert insight, tech tips, and real stories from the field. All right, I am live in Orlando at AHR Expo 2025 with my new favorite trainer, Louise Kellar from UEi Instruments. I had no idea they are based out of Indianapolis, where I'm from, so I'm really excited to talk to Louise and what they have to offer for the HVAC community. How's it going, Louise?
It has been great. We are on day 3, by the way, for anybody who is watching this. So it has been an amazing week. We've been down here. Not only were we down here for AHR, we've been down here for a multitude of other events. And congratulations, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get the W, but I've lost to a very good friend, and I'm proud, excited for him. He was the first 2-time winner, the first 2-year in a row winner, and that's Brett Wetzel from the Advanced Refrigeration Podcast. He's a really good guy. He does a ton for the community, so he really deserved it.
Yeah, but congratulations. Being in the top 3 is a huge thing. That's a huge deal.
Yeah, I did not expect that. I was completely blown away.
Hey, it's amazing the people that you get to meet in this industry and actually see what's going on. And then when you find out that you're all in the same area. So I'm from Indiana, UEi. We do all of our distribution and all of our recertification for our combustion analyzers all happen in Indianapolis, Indiana. So it's a small community.
Yeah, it really is. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. So we've been talking for a while now, so we can just all set up. And I was like, let's just do it at AHR.
Yeah.
We can hang out in the booth. We can show off some of the products. And that's really what I want to do. Let's show off some products and like what UEi does and what sets you guys apart. Like, I didn't know anything about the warranty program on your recertification program, so I was excited to hear about that. So let's just dive right into the flue gas, the analyzers. And
all right, so I got to tell you,
gas, because that's what I use it for. But combustion analyzer.
No, but flue gas analyzers. So we, all of our manufacturing is actually done in the UK, and in the UK they actually do always refer to them as flue gas analyzers. So you'll see terms like FGA on those. So not uncommon. They're the same thing. They just have different names depending on industry and depending on what continent you might be on. So what's really cool about our combustion analyzers, and that's what I always call them, is that we came out with an award-winning service program. So our service program is called UEi Service Plus Guaranteed. And what sets UEi Service Plus Guaranteed away from everything else is that for every year you send in your analyzer for its annual recertification, which you're supposed to do, we actually extend that warranty 1 year. So you get a 1-year warranty on your combustion analyzer, and then you send it in the next year for its annual recertification. We're going to give you another year warranty on that, up to 10 years from the date of purchase. Beyond just doing that, though, we've designed it on our website. So you go online, you send this in, we're going to give you a UPS label to send it to and from us. That's all included in it. But what's even more exciting than that is the fact that we have a same-day Service Plus guaranteed. When it comes to us through that program, if it lands in our Indianapolis facility on like Wednesday morning, it goes back out on a UPS truck Wednesday afternoon.
That is insane. That's like fast turnaround. You're gonna have it back in a couple of days. So, you know, me, I don't use it traditionally. I'm not working on furnaces or boilers and that kind of stuff. I use it to set up restaurant equipment, specifically combi ovens. They use a pre-mixed burner system. That's how we dial that burner in real good. So, I mean, I don't have a dead period of time. I may never know when I have a chance to send it in, but if I know that, hey, it's only going to be a couple days, I can have another one brought in, or I can borrow someone else's for a couple days to get me by. So that's a really huge benefit there.
Well, and I mean, you're in our backyard, so you're in 1-day shipping. But the great thing about being in Indianapolis is it's really centralized location.
Oh, yeah.
So no matter where you are in the country, it's a pretty quick time to get it to us. And then with that turnaround, because we know when you need your analyzer, you need your analyzer. So we want to make sure that we're getting it back to you in a timely manner. And we designed this program. We've been working on this program program really hard over the years, and so to have it that perfected is absolutely incredible. It did actually win a dealer design award for contractor services in 2024. So I was really excited about it. I'm really proud of the team for being able to make that happen for us, because as I said, when you need your analyzer, you need your analyzer, and your realm is year round. There's a lot of other parts of the industry though, because combustion analyzers, people always generally think about them specifically for heating season, right? So your furnaces, your boilers, but they're really a year-round product now. So you have the kitchen applications, but you also have like water heater applications that you should be doing testing of combustion gases year-round.
I've learned a ton this week, last week and this week too. I caught you on Brian Orr's podcast Monday morning, 8 o'clock. He drug in here pretty early somehow.
He did. We both survived, so.
But that was really cool. I learned a lot. I was like, it shined a whole different light on it. Because I just look at it from my angle. I don't get to see all the other angles about how the importance of it, of proper CO2, CO settings and everything else. It's wild to believe that so many people out there have no idea. So I learned a lot. I'm actually going to change some things when I get home, check some things when I get home. So,
well, you know what? We'll tell everybody here, because we've had some conversations before we did this. But one of the things I was concerned about is that when we started talking, was I going to have enough content to actually provide it for you? And then it was eye-opening for me, though, on the same token, to see how many of the tools. So, in my mind, I have the traditional applications of what those tools are.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting to see what I would call the non-traditional, but they all make sense. And you're using the same tools that you see on my table here today. And so it was fascinating to me to learn that side of the business that I wasn't as familiar with.
Yeah, I always get people ask me, like, oh, what kind of specialty tools you use? I'm like, specialty tools? What are you talking about? I was like, if I like a meter for electrician, I buy a meter for electrician, and I use probes. I use, just any other HVAC tools, like, probes, meters, that kind of stuff. I use all that. So it's like, it's nothing special. We just kind of borrow everything from everybody else and just kind of make it fit our needs. We're doing the same stuff. It's just a different application. I tell people all the time, they're like, oh, that oven, what's in that oven? I was like, well, that oven has the same burners that like a Carrier rooftop unit has. It has the same gas valve, has the same hot surface igniter. It's all the same parts. People are blown away, like, oh. I'm like, yeah. I was like, I didn't start doing HVAC and come to this. I started doing this, and then I moved into HVAC because it's the same components, the same principles of operations, same sequence of operations, and you just adapt and learn.
Yeah, so by the way, if you guys haven't gone, we were Brian Orr at HVAC school. Like, my mind was blown all last week, and then being here at AHR and getting to talk to everybody, I think it's probably going to take me a week to absorb all of that information. And I look forward to talking to you in the future, because we make so many great tools that really integrate in with yours. So we were talking about the combustion analyzer, and that one of the other big things that we talk a whole lot about is carbon monoxide awareness, like just having an ambient CO detector to protect yourself when you're going into a place, because it's colorless, it's tasteless, and it's odorless. And I bet there's a lot of situations that you wind up walking into that if they're not testing it or they're not doing any sort of monitoring of it, you could be in a world of hurt, and the employees could be in a world of hurt.
You'd be amazed at how many restaurants I go into when it's cold outside. If they don't have a heated makeup air system, they will actually fire up everything in the restaurant and not turn the hood on, because it's sucking in cold air. And I'm like, and it's cold in here. I'm like, you guys got headaches? Oh yeah. I'm like, well, yeah, you're lucky you're not on the floor passed out, or even worse at this point.
They probably tell you it's just the stress of the job, don't they?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just stressful in here. I'm like,
but it could be less stressful. It could be less stressful though, right?
Yeah, so I think it's mainly just they don't realize what they're actually doing to themselves a lot of times.
Yeah.
I think a portable CO meter would be great. I've heard stories from other people in the industry, like they had a portable CO meter on them, and they went to a supply house, and they were at the counter, and it started going off, and everyone's like, what's that? He's like, oh, my CO meter's going off. He's like, you guys got forklifts back there? And he's like, yeah, they're propane. He's like, they're all right. He's like, do you guys ever open your doors? Like, oh, no, it's cold. And he was sitting at the counter, and his meter was going off. inside a different room, maybe in the warehouse. I'm like, this is wild.
Well, and that's the thing is I think there's a lot of misconceptions about carbon monoxide as well, because everybody just thinks that carbon monoxide, it's there, but and then it goes away. But carbon monoxide, the way that it's set up is it kind of layers itself in a building. And so the more CO that's going into the building, the higher and higher those CO levels are going to raise. But it can also kind of migrate through walls. So you may not have a direct vent to that next room, but it's very possible that you could have CO spilling into that room.
Yeah, that's pretty useful to have. I think I'm gonna pick one up for myself because, like I said, I've got a lot of kitchens and like, man, I don't feel good. Like I'm lightheaded. I'm like, what's going on in here? Like, oh, it's like that all the time. I'm like, no, it shouldn't be that way.
Right. So that's an important thing. We can talk a little bit about that because we do make some ambient air CO monitors, and we actually just came out with a really cool new CO logger.
Nice.
So this might be something you'd be interested in, especially if you have repeat issues like having to go in. So this is actually a neat little leave behind logger. So you can interface it with an app, or there's some of our analyzers that interface with it, but you can actually leave this behind.
Leave it in the space and come back later.
And come back in later. And so it'll do up to 2 weeks or 20,000 logs. Because what we're finding though is a lot of times you go in, you do everything, and then they change something after you've left, and then they call and they still have some of those similar complaints, but you can't see what's going on. So I'll tell you another story. This one, we don't have that specific product anymore, but we had a contractor that kept getting called out, and it was actually for a walk-in cooler. And they kept having issues. They kept going out there. They couldn't figure out what was going on in that walk-in cooler. So they had a different leave behind logger that we used to have, and it turned out that they made big vats of soup. And every night at 9 p.m., they just hot vats of soup. Open those doors, roll them in.
Temperature skyrockets.
Right, for that period of time. And you know hot soup, it doesn't cool down even when you put it in those walk-ins. Yeah, so it was one of those situations. So sometimes you have to be able to kind of see that logger data to figure out what's going on in the long run.
Yeah, customers are bad about that. They'll bring in like pasta. They'll cook batch pasta in the morning, and they just think they can put it on carts and roll it in the cooler and cool it off. Like, if your cooler is not designed for that kind of load, those BTUs, you were just killing your cooler. You're bringing all your food into a unsafe temperature, and then it takes forever for it to come back down because it's on a heavy load. So yeah.
And then you can wind up with a lot of bacteria growing in there too, right? Because I'm guessing that you're probably looking at not only what is the actual temperature, but you have to pay attention to some of those humidities in there and everything like that.
Yep. So you guys, I mean, you run the gamut. I mean, I've used your meters in the past. I'm really interested in the 599. I'm probably going to pick one up myself because I like to, it does everything I need to do. It's a lot smaller form factor than what I have now, so it's going to take up some less space in the Vito, and I'm sure it'll just jam something else in its place. But
it's nice to have a meter that's going to have all the functionality for you, rather than having to have multiple meters.
That's what we used to do in the past. When they issued a new Tech Tools, they'd actually give them an older the Phoenix, and then we give them another brand.
That's okay. Well,
I won't say the brand. We'll give another brand meter that did like microamps and stuff like that.
Okay.
I don't think the Phoenix did everything we need, so we were always giving them out 2 meters. So then you're taking up more room. Well, I mean, that's a little bit bigger than the Phoenix, and it does everything I needed on 2 meters. So I'm always trying to find a way to make less, cut the weight down and do everything in one tool. And that really does it.
Yeah, and I love that 599. So that 599, as you were talking, it has all the features, functions. It'll do DC amps through your amp clamp. It will also do, if you're dealing with any 3-phase motors, it has a 3-phase motor rotation test on it, as well as it also has a motor unbalance test on it.
Nice.
And we made some upgrades that now includes power factors and wattage.
Yeah, that's power factor. I didn't realize that was such a big deal, so I met someone supposing, and we started talking about it. It's like, oh no, when you're testing these certain motors, you really need to know watts and not amperage. Like, it's a watt thing, not an amperage thing. And I was like, oh, they explained it to me. I was like, oh, now I feel dumb and I don't know what I'm doing, but now I do know what I'm doing. Thank you for explaining to me. So
yeah, well, and you know, it used to be like, so to calculate your wattage is part of the big circle there, the wheel of electricity. the wheel of electricity, and your wattage is really your amps times volts.
Yep.
So it's nice to have a meter that can actually do that calculation for you, because if you're like me, I'm not great at math, and so like the calculator would be going out.
I always got to bust up the phone and like look at the chart because I can't even remember.
Right.
I have so many passwords in my head that I forget so much information I need, and it's all just passwords anymore to get any equipment.
Yeah, so, and you know, we try to design our tools to be simple. Another thing about our meters is that we all do dual display. All of my meters have dual display, so you can actually see your amps and volts. So if you wanted to do the math, you could do it, but it's really nice to have one that has everything built in for you.
Yeah, and I like it. It fits well in the hand. It's not, like I said, the one I have now it's pretty huge, but this fits well in the hand. It's not heavy. Got good tension on the spring there, so I will be checking this out for sure.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad to hear that. One of the other things I was going to ask you about, because you're in the commercial kitchen world, so you're dealing with a lot of gas. So it's a lot of natural gas. Propane and natural gas.
Mostly natural.
Okay.
I'll do some food truck stuff, and it's always propane. It's kind of weird.
Okay.
And it's always killed because they don't run a regulator, or they let their tanks run out and then it undergasses everything and everything sets up.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was talking yesterday about the importance of having a gas leak detector. So we have our CD100A, which is a combustible gas leak detector. So anything that basically will go, you take a match to it and it'll go boom. That's what it's going to detect.
Nice.
So that's a nice, easy, portable one. It has a little 18-inch gooseneck on it, so it's easier to get to. And sometimes you're working on hot equipment, and then you got to pull out like the soap and bubble. Tell me you're not using a lighter, are you?
No,
Okay.
I've heard guys say they do that. And I've seen videos. I'm like, you're dumb, but no, that wand's nice because I can just kind of lean over, reach behind something.
Because sometimes it's a little bit hard to be able to get back there.
I got a big fryer full of oil and it's 350 degrees. I don't want to pull it around because it sloshes around. It gets on you, gets all over the floor. So being able to reach behind there and just check that hose, because it's always the hose. It's always right where it connects to the little spinning part, and it's just always right there, the connection, and it leaks. So what I like to do is I like to use a leak detector, and I get close, and then I take the bubbles. Okay. Because the customer doesn't understand the leak detector, but I can, once I get those bubbles on there and it starts blowing up, then I get a visual, and I'm like, hey, look, here it is, and I understand a bubble versus that. Like, what's
so you're doing like a little dual purpose on there for the illustrations, because sometimes that's important, right, is to be able, and that's also the important of, you know, if you're able to explain out some of the documentation that you have going on there.
Pictures are everything. Pictures or paper, something I can show what I did. And you know, you got the same thing on your analyzers where you can like show a screen, or you can. Do you guys have printer capabilities?
We do have printer capabilities.
So you can print it out and have it.
Yeah. So we have some optional, like we use the same printer for all of our analyzers. It's an optional, but it's a little infrared printer that you can do. But depending on the models, like the one that I had here was the C161, but like our Kane 460 that just came out. Also won a dealer design award.
Nice.
It was a good year.
You guys are killing it.
I know, it was a great year. But this actually has wireless capability in it, so you can send it to a free app.
Oh, nice.
And then you can email out your results. And I really urge people, like, being able to have some of that documentation and pick a couple of key metrics that you kind of want to explain to the customer to help add some value to what you're doing. Because it's great that you've gone, and they're going to be happy that you did something, but if you're able to explain it, it kind of helps in that process. Because, you know, I talk a lot of times about, a lot of times you're the salesperson.
Oh yeah.
You're the salesperson. Let me ask you, did you get into this industry because you wanted to be in sales?
No, and I try to limit as much as possible, but I only...
But you're also the trusted source, right? So like you're the first point of contact for a business owner. Like, so being able, like, they're going to trust your opinion.
But you have to explain it to the way they understand too, to get them to understand why you have to do what you have to do.
Exactly.
You can't just go in there, this hose is leaking. Well, I don't see it leaking. I smell it. I don't see it leaking. Maybe it's something else. Well, that's why I use the picture. I use the bubbles behind it and then show the picture. Be like, look, here's bubbles. It's leaking.
Yeah.
And the same thing. You can give them the printout. You can email them, you know, what's going on with the unit. Like, hey, this thing's running too bad. We need to, you know, fix this. You got an issue here, or, you know, your space isn't safe because of this. You have something to stand on and show them instead of just, you know, saying it.
Right. It changes that conversation from I think to I know, and here's why I know those things.
A lot of people have trust issues when it comes to service because there's been a lot of companies that do some stuff they shouldn't really do. And it puts a reputation on the good people that they don't deserve, unfortunately.
And you know what? I have to say there is a lot of good people, and I think we've gotten to meet a lot of them this week, and I know there's a lot of you out there that we still haven't gotten to meet. So, but yeah, there's a lot of great people in this industry. There's all facets of this industry too, which is even more mind-blowing. Like, I didn't know I was going to have something in common with commercial kitchens, but here we are, and it turns out that we have way more in common than I ever imagined.
Yeah, it's a fun industry. I love it. Let's talk about your manometers, because I use manometers different than everybody else. So a normal HVAC guy, he may use a manometer to set gas, but mainly he's checking airflow. I'm not checking airflow, I'm checking gas pressure. So I like to, everything I do, especially gas systems, if I'm having problems lighting, I want to know pressure. I want to know pressure in, I want to know pressure out. If it's not a pre-mix system, I can do pressure out. And I love the dual capability, so I always want to have two. So what do you guys have as far as manometers? So
we actually debuted late last year, because we're now in 2025. I'm still a little off on that. But we actually debuted 2 new manometers. So the first one is our DPM. So this is a nice little dual port manometer. So it has a physical display on it. It has the magnet on the back side for you, and it also has a free app. So if you wanted to be able to like see what's going on you'd be able to graph it, you'd be able to email out those results. And so that comes with, it's the dual port manometer. You can see it has the physical display. It does have a backlight on it as well, so you can illuminate it depending on applications. And you can hook multiples of those up. So if you were looking at something in sequence, you could actually have that.
Multi-stage, Yep.
The other thing though that I really, really love are these ones. So they are right. So I love these. So you can hold on to one.
It's the same form factor. Is that just a single instead of a dual?
It's a single port, but what makes this nice, this does, by the way, come only in a static pressure kit. So it comes with your accessories like the magnetic static pressure probes. It comes with the T's. So if you wanted to do some pressure switch testing, it comes on with the regular gas valve adapters, but it also comes with the slip-on gas valve adapters. But what's really cool about these is, again, they still have the same display, so you can see what's going on, and they each read individually. But in the app, you can actually hook them up, and you can see your differential. So when you want to see that, and the advantage with having some of that single port is now all of that tubing. If you were having to go a long distance, you don't have to worry about going that long distance.
You don't have to buy 30 feet of that little flexible hose.
Exactly. So this one's really nice, and then again, this will allow you to log, record, graph anything that's going on, and you can hook up, I believe, 6 of these.
So in my world, what likes to happen is they may have built this kitchen in the 90s or early 2000s, and then they keep adding new equipment. And they think because, oh, there's a spot there that we can put something there, and then next thing you know, I'm running fryers at the end of the line, and they shut off. You know, we're having problems where they're kicking off in the middle of a dinner cycle or something. They're shutting down. Well, the problem is everything else in that line before it is taking all the gas. And by the time it gets down to the end, there's no gas there, and it just shuts off because the pilot goes out. And a lot of guys don't catch it, and they don't realize it. But having a good manometer and then firing everything up is key to seeing what's going on in the system. So I rely on manometers all the time.
So I love these. They're small. We were talking about making it easy in the bags that you're carrying, because I'm telling you, these bags are intense. I had no idea. So anything that we can do to try to help minimize having to have more tools. And I know everybody likes more tools. You're welcome to buy everything that you see on the table today, but anything that we can do, and we really try to pack ours feature oriented for the contractor in mind.
So let's get into refrigeration. You guys have some refrigeration products on the table. You got a scale back here.
I do.
And I was asking about the weight on that scale, and you guys have 3 different versions, and they all cover more than enough than I need in my world, so that's good to know. But the probes, let's talk about your probe kit here.
So what you're seeing here is our Hub 8 set. I love this set. Like, I think we've done some really neat things as far as that goes. So one of the first things that we did is that we have our pressure probe. Go ahead, you can play with it. Has 180-degree swivel going on with it.
That. You can get some small spaces. And because some of them are weird spots where the shredders are. It's like, why did you guys put a shredder like that in there? So that's really cool. It swivels, and then you also have your charging teeth.
Correct. So you don't have to add that extra T to it.
T's in there and extra fittings, another leak point. That's really good to have.
So I'm excited about that one. So you get 2 pressure probes, and then we have a different design on our pipe clamp that I'm really excited about, because sometimes you're also having that same issue where you're trying to get into those narrow spaces. So this one has a narrow jaw head. It only requires one point of contact. It's a thermally isolated sensor on it, and it feels good in your hand, right?
Is it auto on when you open it?
Yeah.
I was like, why is this thing blinking at me? So that's cool. It auto turns on. You don't have to turn it on and wait for it to sync up. It just, you open it, it comes on. So that's really good.
Yeah.
It does feel good in the hand. It's definitely a different design, but I like it. It's narrow. You can fit in some stuff. I got a lot of tight spots up against walls, inside equipment, underneath equipment and regions and stuff I work in, and this would fit right in there. I mean, you just get right on that pipe and you're good to go. I like the single point because that dual point one drives me nuts sometimes, because like you
trying
bump
to get around.
If you bump it, it like shuts off. It doesn't sense. It has to be perfect sometimes. And this, I think, will eliminate a lot of those false readings and stuff I get sometimes.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I like that pipe clamp. So we offer like kind of 3 different sets of this too. So we have our Hub 4 set, which is just your pressure probes and your pipe clamps. When you start moving to our Hub 6, we add 2 more pieces, right? 4 has 4 pieces, 6 has, but these are our hygrometer probes. So they have a 180 degree locking mechanism.
Nice.
We like our magnets.
Oh yeah, you guys magnets and everything. But
we love our magnets.
They're strong. They always hold.
Right.
So that's not a problem.
But when you're trying to get like into some of those spaces, right? So it's 1/4-inch drill hole that you're going to put in there, and you really want this in the center of the airstream. So having a nice firm probe on there is going to make it really easy. So you don't have to worry about it falling out or anything like that. And it does more than just temperature, though. It does wet bulb, dry bulb, relative humidity, dew point, and it even calculates out enthalpy.
Nice.
So those are really neat. And so you get a set of those with our Hub 6. And by the way, this portion also auto powers on and off.
Like, oh, the light came on.
Yeah, anything that opens or closes in this set auto powers on. I do have some things that do require hitting the button, but the good news is anything that the good news is though is everything that we do as far as like batteries, we try to keep them, if they're not just the rechargeables, you'll see things like AA's and AAA's. We try to keep it in the realm of things that are easily accessible.
Nice.
The Hub 8 though also includes, it has a wireless micron gauge that also comes with the 45-degree coupler on it, and then we have a third outdoor temperature sensor. So for anybody who's working on those air conditioners and you need to get a target superheat, this is a third outdoor temperature sensor for you.
That's great.
So now you don't have to get another PT chart out to get it.
Or find another probe that doesn't sync up to everything else and have it stuck somewhere and then read that and then try to figure it out yourself. That's really helpful right there.
Yeah.
Sweet. What else we got on the table?
So we have, I talked about our Kane 460. That was the Dealer Design Award. What's really neat that we didn't go into real depth on is the Kane 460 is it's kind of big boy of a combustion analyzer, right?
It's a big one,
and so for those of you who don't know, UEi Test Instruments, we are a second-generation family-owned business, and we are part of a larger group called the Kane Group. So this is our Kane 460. The Kane 460 won the dealer design. What makes it unique is at its base, it's a combustion analyzer. However, it actually uses our link system, and it allows you to interface our wireless tools and see them here rather than having to have an additional app. So it interfaces with things like our Hub 8. We just we were talking about that leave behind CO logger, our COL. It interfaces with that, and then it also interfaces with our airflow. So again, you can see your temperature, you can see your CFM, you can see your velocity, and instead of having to go to multiple apps, you can actually all see it on your combustion analyzer.
That's cool. It makes it really nice. Because sometimes your phone's dead. I'm a habitual dead phone guy.
Okay.
So sometimes it lives out.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, sometimes it lives out in the truck sometimes. But yeah, that's nice to be able to see everything on one thing. Everything links together. It makes it really convenient. Now, do you guys have an app that runs all your stuff if you download?
So we have separate apps.
Okay.
So it's not, but that's what's really nice about that Kane 460 is it kind of centralizes everything for you right now. Yeah. And I think, you know what?
I've lost plenty of those over my time.
Can I say thank you?
Oh, I'm sure.
I appreciate every time one of you tells me that you have lost one of these, I get real happy. I'm sad for you that you lost it, but thank you, because these are like one of the greatest pocket thermometers
That's
out
how she
there.
gets to go on vacation, is all the wireless thermometers we lose. So, but no, it's a great.
Yeah.
I probably don't use it the way it's supposed to be used. I use it for airflow and stuff. I will check fryer oil temperature.
Okay. You know, we have another line though that I might recommend in our pocket thermometers that are actually NSF approved.
Are they?
They are. So that might be something that we'll need to talk about a little bit later.
But since a lot of times I'll have a fryer and like it's tripping to high limit, which is a safety. So if the oil gets too hot, it can bust. So you have a high limit, depending on manufacturers, like 425, 400, 425. And I'll walk in, I'll have a bad thermostat or something, or a gas valve stuck that's just running away, and you see it bubbling. You're like, fryer oil is not supposed to bubble with nothing in it. And like I'll just pull a pocket thermometer, stick it in there. I'm like, oh, this is like 400 degrees. I might want to shut this off. And then So yeah.
So we have some that are approved NSF, and we have one that's an NSF and folding.
Nice. I'll have to find that then.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit. It's our PDT 660.
So is that an infrared?
Yeah. So it's it's an infrared. If you haven't gotten to play with this one's super cool. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to illustrate it as well on camera, but there's a lot of misconceptions when we're talking about infrared thermometers. So I want to talk a little education on this one, okay? So everybody, if you have an infrared thermometer, I encourage you, take a look on the side, because on the side of it, as you can see here, you'll see it has a distance spot ratio. And so that tells me that at 12 inches away, I'm measuring a one inch circumference. But when I'm measuring something up on like a ceiling or far away, doing that calculation, like, oh, maybe that's a 20-foot ceiling, how big am I actually measuring it? And that's a really hard thing. Like, again, I'm not good at math, so anything we can do that's gonna help us through that. We actually use an 8-dot system.
Oh, nice.
So it shows you exactly what you're measuring. So the farther away that you get, the bigger your circle, the closer you get, the smaller the circle. So it takes all that guesswork out of it.
Yes, you're not just like, I think I'm hitting over there when you're really hitting over there.
Right, and you're getting that light, because all infrared thermometers, they all work the same. It's all a circular laser. It's just the difference between seeing that one dot and having to do the math around it, or just being able to see all of it. And we offer another version of that too, by the way. It has a thermocouple input, so you can do differential temperatures.
Oh, nice.
But they both have some changeable emissivity going on with them. So emissivity.
What does that mean?
It's basically the reflectiveness of an object. So if you didn't know, here's your next. So the emissivity default on infrared guns actually happens to be flat black. So that's why a lot of times you'll see somebody do like electrical tape on something so they can get where that dot is. But they're still measuring around where that dot is. But if you were working on like shiny copper or oxidized copper, you should actually change that emissivity.
So in my world, we'll have a customer they'll go to Lowe's and just buy whatever, and they think they can, like, they'll have a shiny flat top grill, stainless steel, and they think they can check temperature with that. I'm like, you can't do that. Or they'll shine it through like fryer oil and like hit the stainless steel wall. I'm like, oh, our fryer's off. Well, no, you can't do that. So that makes a whole lot of sense. So you actually just taught me something once again, Louise.
All right.
So,
it's a learning experience for us all around.
Every day.
All around.
That's cool. I guess I know what I can say that word, emissivity.
Emissivity
to my customers when they break out the laser thermometer and they think they're measuring stainless steel. It's like, it's not going to work. So.
You're going to get some off readings. It's not going to be accurate. I
throw I have a weighted one that ties into my meter, K-type, and I just set it on there and I'm like, oh, look, it's actually temperature. Well, mine says this. Well, you can't measure with that. Stop measuring with that. So that makes sense.
Well, there we go. Another.
Now I know why you can't do it.
Exactly.
So that's cool. Anything else we want to cover today?
You know, I feel like we've covered the entire table in this time. We have ran the gauntlet, but I am just super excited that we got to meet this week. Like, I have to tell you, like, even being in the same city, we hadn't gotten to meet yet. We're definitely going to have to meet up and talk some more about our tools and hang out, and I am looking forward to that.
Anytime you want to come show some tools off, talk about tools, you let me know. We will make it happen somewhere, someplace, sometime.
All right. Well, I love that, and I appreciate you coming out and hanging out at the booth with me for a little bit
All right.
today.
Thanks, Louise.
All right, thanks,
I got
Pat.
a friend for life.
All right, absolutely. I'm excited.
If you guys would, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the podcast. It really helps us grow and helps us know which direction to move in. Also, if you have any suggestions for guests, please email me at commercialkitchenchronicles@gmail.com. Or if you want to be a guest, email me. Love to have you guys on. Thanks a lot. See you next week.